This week, Okies in the Wild, we go through an adventure in the Denali National Park. We'll let you know if anything exciting happens. All right, guys, just checking in. This is one of the craziest things. Oh no. This white stuff here is one of the most dangerous things. We have it in Oklahoma too, but here it's still here. And this right here could be footprints of one of the largest animals in the world, weighing in at over 10 pounds, a moose. We just saw one of the loudest creatures on earth, the squirrel, where they were chasing each other. There was a great chase going on. Becca was coaching on the one in the back, making sure that it gave its best, as should you. An important part of our adventure today is our footwear. As you can tell, Becca is rocking the leopard print Converses.
Wild.
The reason is because bears are scared of leopards. Stay safe. Hashtag not a sponsor. Yet. We're going to start on such a dangerous trail that no pets are allowed. The pets are just an attraction to the bears. That's why Becca's shoes are so important. Stay safe out there. It's always nice to be reminded of home when you're out in the wilderness. As you can see behind us, those remind us of home, the Arbuckle Mountains, with the snow-covered tops in southern Oklahoma. If you know, you know. There's little ponds here. We're back home, we would catch some crawdads. But here, all you're catching is hypothermia. Stay warm. While hiking up this giant mountain, me and Becca decided to have a race.
Treacherous path.
But we ran so fast, we outran our breath. Me and Becca competed in our second length of the triathlon. Of course, I blew her away.
Right, cheating.
All is fair in a win. As you can tell, this giant footprint right here has to be from a moose. Look at it compared to my hand.
Goodbye.
Look at this. Becca standing 6'2". This goes all the way up to her arms.
6'2". Why can't you be like
This is one of the largest trees in the park. Pushed over by what we could only assume was Bigfoot.
Or when life tries to push you over, you just keep growing.
Which reminds us, when life tries to push you over, you can keep on going and block other people's paths.
What? No.
Hashtag motivation. Guys, we're back years later. And look, our old friend, the bent tree, has reached its full potential. Stay motivated, stay hungry. A rare sight. The gorgeous truck driving in front of these mountains. These clouds covering these mountains. These go at least another 1,000 foot in the air, but covered by these clouds. As you can tell, once the clouds have moved, they get a lot taller. Hello YouTube, and welcome back to the great state of Oklahoma. We have returned from our great adventure to the state of Alaska. We had a wonderful time. As we go forward, I'll get to share some more journeys that we have here with Okies in the Wild. But a lot of the time will be just conversations like this where we get to go over what's going on in my life around the world. You know, we'll get to dive in and maybe see what God's word says to us. So one of the things that I didn't get to film while we were in the state of Alaska was a terrifying situation where my mom says my dad wandered off. My dad says we wandered off. It doesn't matter who's right. The point is that my dad ended up on the trail in Denali Park with no cell phone. So, while we had just walked our, we'll say it's 5 miles around this trail to get back to where we started, and we realized there's no dad in sight. We all thought he had gone back. He was not there. So we decided to travel on back through that trail again, try to track him down. And we're about halfway through that trail, still unsuccessful at tracking down my dad. At which point I start pinging his watch to see if it might connect to his phone. At which point my mom calls my dad, at which point he is close enough to the truck where he can answer his phone, which he left there. All that was an experience, to say the least. We were worried sick, didn't know what was planned. I was already planning the movie series about finding my dad in the state of Alaska. But as it turns out, I didn't know what was in store. And a lot of that is the way we go about our normal lives. We go about frustrated, angry, because we don't know what's next. We don't know what's planned. And we want to know the end of the story. Well, the same way as I dealt with that, Moses, wandering in the wilderness, his people following along behind him, God has showed them multiple miracles about how he will take care of them. Manna from heaven, water coming out of rocks, water splitting in front of them. Just incredible things that we think if we saw on a daily basis, we're probably going to trust that God knows what he's doing. But yet, his people would say, listen, we were better off as captives in Egypt as slaves than we are here in the desert. So why don't we just go back to that? Sometimes when we're on that journey of life, we feel like we want to know the end. We want to know where we're going. We want to know what's going to be at the end of the tunnel. And oftentimes, that's not the way God operates. Sometimes we have to just take step after step. In fact, in my very own life, recently, I was having that same struggle. And lo and behold, who would show up but my very own mentor. He shows up and I'm telling him about how I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what I'm doing. I just know that this is where God has me. And his response, full of wisdom as always, was, if we knew, we wouldn't go. I don't want you to take that. I don't want you to encourage your life with that. If you honestly knew what God had in store for you, first, you couldn't believe it. It's something going to be beyond anything you can imagine. But secondly, if you knew it, if you knew what it was going to take to get there, you wouldn't do it. You wouldn't go. Because there is always gold at the end of God's rainbow. There's always a promise. So stay strong, stay healthy. Hopefully I'll be seeing you daily. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Of course, normal YouTube things. And I appreciate y'all. Stay in the wild.